It's time for the Kohl's Tractor and Equipment Football Roundtable on J98.
One tackle on the left, going to the right. How did he break through that? Zach Boyer got through 3 tacklers. He has nothing but country roads ahead of him. Zach Boyer into the end zone for a touchdown.
Audio
Another
2.
would-be broken play for St. Genevieve.
Audio 2.
Another huge touchdown for the Dragons. And that is what they needed at the right time.
Tonight we'll recap the week that was in high school football.
Reed rolling out to his right, looking to throw, steps up, fires, deep downfield, pass is caught! Sibby makes the catch, spins off a tackler to 45, still going inside the 40, 30, 20, 10, touchdown North County! Are you kidding me?
And we'll give you a sneak peek at the games coming up this weekend.
A late pitch, Cunningham on a tailback pass. He's throwing it to the end zone. He's got a man open. Touchdown Farmington! Touchdown Farmington! The Knights are on top. The Knights are on top. Touchdown Farmington on the halfback pass.
Plus, we'll hear from the coaches and players.
I can't say enough about these kids. They came out focused. They came out fired up.
The kid, he has the most heart I've ever seen in my life. He puts in time on and off the field.
This is the Kohl's Tractor and Equipment Football Roundtable.
He's going to throw it deep, and it is caught! It is caught by St. Pius! Here they go! 10-5, touchdown, Lancers! The last play of the game! What just happened?
Brought to you by Kohl's Tractor and Equipment on Highway 32 in Farmington. Home of the LS Tractor. Lead the herd, don't just follow. Broadcasting live from Applebee's in Farmington, Griffin Weinberg, along with the rest of the regional radio sports team.
Well, the rest of the team is putting it one way. We're dropping like flies over here.
I was just thinking, Griff.
So, Griffin Weinberg, Chad Speaker, just us two rolling with you on this Tuesday evening at Applebee's in Farmington. Yeah, a couple of the voices we have in there, they're out of here.
I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking how the playoffs are here. You know, half the teams in Missouri are eliminated.
Yep.
Football's a battle of attrition. Our broadcast team's the same way. We started out with Nathan and Garrett. And, hey, you and I are advancing.
We're here. Yeah, exactly. Listen, it's playoff season. You got to deal with the adversity. Numbers are low. People got to step up, and you got to do a little more. But, no, we're glad to be with you on this Tuesday evening, the 1st of November. And this is the final Kohl's Tractor and Equipment Football Roundtable of the season. We're on your radios at 98.5 FM, J98 The Boot, streaming online at mymoinfo.com, and streaming on Twitter and YouTube as well. So thanks to the fine folks if you're watching along.
How was your Halloween? Did you get any candy yesterday?
No. I unfortunately watched the Bengals. They tricked me.
That was a scary Halloween.
They tricked me. That wasn't fun. No.
Not a treat for you.
Yeah, candy yourself?
I did not. No.
Yeah.
No, I didn't either.
Yep.
So, but it was all good.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's good. Well, we get to talk football. That's the treat.
That's good. That's the treat. There you go.
That's the treat. So we got just 11 of our area teams remain. 10 of them were eliminated last Friday, and we have St. Vincent in Class 1 District 1. They didn't play last Friday. They're going to be playing Charleston this week. St. Pius in Class 1 District 2. They're going to be taking on the top seed Duchesne. In Class 3 District 1, Valley Catholic taking on Kennett this Friday, and then Park Hills Central Rebels taking on St. Genevieve. Class 4 District 1, we got Hillsborough taking on Farmington and North County taking on Festus. And in Class 6 District 1, it's the Seckman Jaguars taking on Marquette. So, teams are their seasons have come to an end for most of them, and then we're going to have some of those numbers kind of diminish throughout this week as it comes by. But, I think what we learned last week is that there's some teams that, the chalk kind of spoke for itself, and some of the numbers were there. There's a big upset. Crystal City, they were the 3 seed. They dropped to a 6-seeded Louisiana team. They had a memorable season. That comes to a close. But, I think for the most part last week, Chad, all the results were expected, I think, outside of that Crystal City one.
Mostly chalk, right?
Yeah.
And we've got, as we look at our districts, we do have a couple of guaranteed district champions from our area. Class 4 District 1, all area teams.
Yep.
Class 3 District 1, all area teams. So we're guaranteed, some district champions. But I think there's going to be some real battles in some of our other areas. Even some of the higher seeded teams, like you said, and pointing out Crystal City, not guaranteed victories. But that's what you get when you get this deep in the season, is you start to play some of those other teams outside of that immediate area. And you don't know what their schedules are like. You don't know, what that strength of schedule is like, and they don't know yours either. So, you could have certain things that look certain ways on the algorithm or on paper or whatnot, and that's not always the way it goes on the field.
Yeah, it's like St. Vincent. I think we were looking at it, but they're playing a Charleston team that's got a pretty good record on the year, and Seckman Marquette. Those are two teams that are both 9-1. I mean, that's going to be a dangerous matchup too. So there are a lot of unexpected. We'll take a little bit more of a look at the matchups later on in the show. We're going to be joined by the Hillsboro Hawks. Head coach Bill Saharsky's coming down. He's bringing a few players. So
looking forward to that.
Yeah. I mean, they're the number 6 team in Class 4, according to the media around the state. And they're going to be taking on Farmington this week. And they're a dominant team, too. So they got a bye last Friday. We'll talk with Coach Saharsky, some of the players, just about the season and what they did last week, the matchup coming up this week. And we're going to break down last Friday's broadcast games, the other scores, and preview this week and the games we're going to have for you. I think another 3 great matchups for you on regional radio. So a lot to get into, but, for now, we'll step aside. And when we come back from a little break, we're going to talk about the game we had on KREI last Friday between Farmington and Perryville. That's all coming up next on your Kohl's Tractor and Equipment Football Roundtable on J98 The Boot. Thanks for tuning back into the Kohl's Tractor and Equipment Football Roundtable on J98, mymoinfo.com, and we're streaming on Twitter and YouTube. Griffin Weinberg and Chad Speaker with you. Looks like they still got some spooky sips. I thought maybe the deals go into November a little bit, but they're pretty tasty. So you can come out to Applebee's, you can try out some spooky sips, or the Tuesday night regular, the Mucho Bahama Mama. I think maybe tonight's the night.
Griff, before we get into the recap, I just want to kind of pass along to our listeners one thing that I really enjoyed from last Friday night.
Yeah.
This was in my game, but it was also in other games around the area. The Central game, I know this happened as well. The coaches game planned some really interesting creative trick plays to get their senior linemen involved in the action and get them some touches and some opportunities that they'd never have had before, and they've put in their 4 years and worked so hard. And the guys that score the touchdowns get a lot of the praise. I mean, that's what happens.
Yep.
But Corey Schweiss got a couple of touchdowns for linemen. Eric Krupe got a senior and also a senior lineman a touchdown, and then Perryville ran some stuff I've never seen in my life.
Yeah.
The very first play, they ran a fumble rooski to their guard. Then they ran a reverse pass, but they handed it off to their center, who then came around to try to then
throw it. Yeah,
it didn't work out.
I was going to say,
he ended up getting hit and fumbled it, and it was a disaster. But I loved what the coaches were doing.
Yeah,
it was really fun.
Usually the stuff you say for week 9 senior nights, but hey, first round of the playoffs, you got to throw some of that stuff out there. So that's really cool to see. And how about that Farmington game? They're 4-seeded Knights. They advanced after taking down Perryville 49-0 in the Class 4 District 1 quarterfinal matchup. Perryville Pirates were the 5th-seeded team. The Knights scored touchdowns on 7 of their 9 possessions, and the defense held the Pirates to 51 total yards. 3 Knights ran for over 100 yards. Fullback Casey McLean, he went for 156 on 22 carries and 4 touchdowns.
The give is to McLean this time. McLean running the feet to the 5, has a man on his back, carries him into the end zone. Cason McLean bludgeoning his way to the end zone and carrying a man on his back the final 5 yards. An 18-yard touchdown run by Cason McLean, his 4th touchdown run of the ball game. And for Cason McLean, his 13th of the season. And the Knights lead 33-zip at the 5:45 mark of the third quarter.
Cason was getting some good holes. He was hitting them hard.
Sounded like it.
You heard on that play, he literally had a backpack that was a Perryville Pirate that he took 4 yards into the end zone.
That's probably, he's only a sophomore. That's got to be the best game that he's had in his 2 years as being a Farmington player.
He's not statistically, but it was an impressive performance.
Yeah. Quarterback Brett Dry, he ran for 101 yards on 9 carries, and Connor Rice, he managed 117 yards on just 4 carries. Farmington got a few seniors involved in the second half, like Chad was talking about, after a fumble on an attempted reverse pass from their center. Perryville gave Farmington the football on the 7-yard line.
On the line of scrimmage, the 4-yard line. Drive back to pass this time. Looks for the corner of the end zone, and a diving catch attempt, and he's got it. It's Wyatt Skaggs, the senior, diving in the end zone for a touchdown catch from 4 yards out. And the Knights are on top, 41-0 with 3:30 remaining.
What was kind of cool about that play is obviously that was part of them trying to get their seniors involved, guys that don't get a lot of touches. But the part of the play that I really enjoyed is the fact that he actually had to make a really good play on it. It wasn't just like a token touchdown. He kind of laid out and used the hands away from his body and snatched it. Really did make a nice play there.
Well, then the Knights, they line up senior lineman Josh Wyatt in the backfield for their final 3 carries of the game.
They've got it at the 4-yard line, and Josh Wyatt is the fullback. He's usually the guy blocking for the fullback. Brett Dry hands it off to him. Wyatt between the guards. He's into the end zone. A touchdown for the senior, Josh Wyatt, from 4 yards out. And everybody happy on the Black Knight sideline.
Hey, you look in the backfield, you see 51. That caught my attention. Like, that number doesn't belong in the backfield.
Yeah, exactly. He had to have been hyped up, though. It's probably a great moment for him. All in all, the Knights ran for 414 yards in the game, and Farmington coach Eric Krupe, he was really proud of the defense.
There's no doubt. Anytime you can hold a team scoreless, there's a sense of pride for your squad and for your defense. And obviously, if you don't score, you can't win a football game. And, so to be able to play like we did on defense, I was very happy. Our kids were flying around. They played well, and that's what you want to see.
Well, Farmington moves to 4-6 on the year and on to the Class 4 District 1 semifinals at Hillsboro. We'll have that game on KREI. Coach Krupe, he knows what type of monster that they're going to be facing when they face the Hawks.
They got a really good football team. Obviously, they've got some individual talent that's pretty impressive. They've got the linebacker, fullback going to K-State, and the Jackson Patterson kid, number 22. I mean, they've got good football players. A quarterback, looking at them on film, they're a complete team because they're great offensively. They're also great defensively. They're a very physical football team, and so obviously we're gonna have to play well. But it's exciting to have that challenge.
Yeah, I want to get into that game a lot, but we're going to do that more as the show goes on.
Forward to that too.
Yeah, we'll talk with Bill Saharsky again in the Hillsboro Hawks about that game at Perryville. They closed the year at 3-7. Step aside for another break here. When we return, we'll have the recap from the game on J98 between Central and Fredericktown. That's all next on your Kohl's Tractor and Equipment Football Roundtable on J98. And Equipment Football Roundtable on this wonderful Tuesday evening. Griffin Weinberg, Chad Speaker with you, and we're going to enjoy ourselves some Applebee's after the show. Going to have us some great deals. I think I don't know, maybe it's a steak night. Can't really figure that out just yet.
Did you notice how good it smelled when we walked up here today?
It's always great.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I think I'm kind of stuck on the quesadilla burger
Yeah.
right now. We'll see, but
yeah, I mean, you always got to. Yeah, that's always a fan favorite. But
Mexi Ranch going on there.
Yeah, we love the Mexi Ranch, and we love us some football. The Central Rebels, they love really scoring every way possible. They did exactly that in their game against Fredericktown last Friday. Central won 69-15. They scored on every possession up until the final one in the fourth quarter. So the Black Cats, they start with the ball. They drive the length of the field on their first possession, but they couldn't punch it in. So Central gets it, and this is where the scoring outburst started. Left guard Evan Weiss, he scored the Rebels' first touchdown.
First and goal, 5:54 left to go here in this first quarter. Murphy under center, taking the snap, and they're going to hand it off to the big man, Evan Weiss. The lineman gets in for a rushing touchdown from 1 yard away. Central going deep into the playbook, giving it to the big man, and they lead 6-0 with 5:45 left to go in the first quarter.
So that's the continuation of the offensive lineman getting some action done, but that's not the last you'll hear of an offensive lineman in this game. However, we have to get to your weekly Joe Bryant highlight. He did Joe Bryant things for a punt return score.
Wood will actually punt this football away. It's a line drive kick. It's going to get into the hands of Joe Bryant. Bryant got a lot of room to work. He's known for bringing off these punts and getting into the end zone, and here he goes. Bryant making men miss, and he's going to take the punt into the end zone for a Rebels touchdown. Surrounded by Black Cats, and talking to Coach Schweiss before this game, Bryant, not the fastest kid, not the biggest kid, but one of the most elusive kids he has ever met. Just dipsy-doo, duckaroo all the way into the end zone for a touchdown. Takes that punt about 35 yards, maybe 40. 2:34 left to go. It's a 20-0 lead for the Central Rebels.
Yeah, the guy is something special, that Joe Bryant kid.
I'm going to try to figure – I don't know if I'll be able to find it out, but I'm going to try to figure out what the record is for non-offensive touchdowns in a year.
Yeah?
Because Job's got to be closing in, I would think.
Yeah, I got to look up the punt return touchdown numbers. These guys got the interception return touchdowns. Crazy. I think a fumble return in there too. Maybe it's the kid is he's something. And speaking of that defense, they put up some points with a pick six.
3rd down and 3, ball at the 42-yard line of the Black Cats, going from right to left. Wood in the gun, 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. One-on-one coverage between Starkey and Wagner. Let's see if they go that direction. They're going deep into double coverage, and it is picked off by the Rebels. Wagner is going to try to take it for a pick six. Nobody in front of him. Pick six for the Rebels. Another touchdown. They had Starkey one-on-one with Wagner. Didn't go with that route. Decided to throw it up to the middle to Ethan Marler. Nobody was there. Triple team. And Wagner brings down the pick, goes down this right sideline for a pick six.
And Corey Schweiss, he even brought out a trick play in the first half for another score. This time, it's the second lineman touchdown of the game for the Rebels. Tristan Stewart brought this to the house.
Kason Murphy, he's in the shotgun. 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Takes the snap, looking for KC, a little stick route, and they give a pitch play to Jackson Jones. He's going down the right sideline. Touchdown Central. A hook and ladder goes for 47 yards into the end zone for a touchdown. What a play. I believe that was actually Tristan Stewart, number 59, not 49. Tristan Stewart, they throw a stick route to Caden Casey. Pitches it back to Tristan Stewart, goes down the right sideline. That's some trickeration there. 47 yards for a Rebels touchdown.
The Rebels scored 56 points in the first half. They added a couple more touchdowns in the second. And Fredericktown's points came from Garrett Marler and Easton Wood. Head coach Corey Schweiss for the Rebels talks about drawing up some plays for his guys in the trenches.
So the deal was, Evan Weiss and Tristan Stewart are 2 offensive linemen for us that have 4 years, have done everything we've asked. Those guys don't get their name in the paper a lot of times. They're studs. I determined that I was going to make sure that those guys.
Athlete of the Week nomination was nice.
Evan got 1 opportunity. Tristan got 1
Athlete of the Week nomination was nice for the 2 guys.
I'm happy for Tristan. I'm happy for Evan because, like I said, those guys have done a lot for us over the last 4 years, and it's exciting to see them get in the end zone.
Well, it's nice when you can give those guys a little bit of shine, too. And Corey Schweiss, he was able to do that. Evan Weiss, Tristan Stewart getting a couple touchdowns and just a rolling win for the Central Rebels, and they are the number 8 team in Class 3. I think that's where they finished in the final media polls I don't think they were tied for 8th anymore. I think they are just number 8. So Central's 9-1. They're going to face St. Genevieve in the Class 3 District 1 semifinals this Friday. We'll have that game for you on J98. Well, Fredericktown finishes their year with a record of 3-7. We'll step aside for another break and come back and break down the game on AM 1400 KJF from last Friday between St. Pius and Grandview. That's all next on your Kohl's Tractor and Equipment Football Roundtable on J98 The Boot. Equipment Football Roundtable. We're rolling here on J98, MimoInfo.com, and streaming on Twitter and YouTube. Griffin Weinberg, Chad Speaker with you. We just broke down 2 of our broadcast games from last Friday, so let's head up to Jefferson County. The game on AM 1400 KJF had the St. Pius Lancers taking down the Grandview Eagles by a final score of 39-6. The Lancers scored first in the game with a 50-yard pass from James Smith to Connor Hamilton.
He drops back to the 40, puts it in the air over the middle. That ball is caught. It's a first down, and even more for the Lancers. It's going to be a touchdown. Lancers. Connor Hamilton was able to reel it in the middle of the field, and he outran a couple of defenders and tacklers, and he got into the left side of the end zone.
Well, the Lancers expanded their lead to 21-0 at halftime, and just when it feels like St. Pius is going to pull away, Grandview, they get on the board. About a little under halfway to go in the third quarter. They score on a 27-yard pass from Jacob Walker to Travis Hoskins.
Receivers left and right. They go to the receiver down the right side of the field. Touchdown. Hoskins reeled that one in on the right side.
and he scores at 4:48 to play in the third.
And then the Lancers' James Smith, well, he started the game at quarterback. He sat out several games due to a broken collarbone. And I know Dan Oliver said that Brennan Irvin was probably going to be playing, a little bit in this game. The sophomore, he was playing, sparingly throughout the last few games. He comes in at the end of this game with St. Pius having a big lead. St. Pius head coach Dan Oliver says that Grandview stayed after the Lancers in the second half.
He gave us a little trouble there and scored, and we were trying to do some things and kind of got ourselves in trouble, and they took advantage of it. So, hats off to them for that. And our guys played pretty well, and we were pretty happy to get James back and get him a lot of reps. And then Brennan came in and finished it up there at the end and, kind of got James out, let him settle down and get ready for next week. So.
And Eagles head coach Jason Kimenow had plenty of praise for the two Grandview seniors, Austin Blankenship and Jace Poole.
Austin Blankenship was one of our bigger turners from last year. Was an all-state linebacker last year. And then Jace Poole, he started on the offensive line at center. He moved around a lot last year in all different kinds of spots. And so finally getting a chance to step in. And same with him. He got hurt late in the season and has been playing through some injuries the last couple of weeks. So to see him fight, right, he's a warrior for our offensive line for sure.
Yeah, that Austin Blankenship, he was an all-state player last year as a linebacker for that Grandview team that I think they finished the year 7-4. I mean, the program, the turnaround that they had over the last 5 years was something special. But the Eagles finished this season with a record of 3-7, and then St. Pius, they improved to 8-2. They'll play the Duchesne Pioneers on the Pioneers' home turf in St. Charles this Friday night. Duchesne is 5-4, but 3 of those losses, I think, are to Cardinal Ritter. I think they've lost to another, maybe St. Mary's was in there. There's another one that I know I spotted out in their state-ranked team. MICDS was another loss for Duchesne up in Class 5. Yeah, a tough schedule. Duchesne's the top seed there. They had a bye last week, so they're going to be well-rested to take on the St. Pius Lancers. And we'll keep up with how Dan Oliver and the guys can do this upcoming Friday. But we are going to step aside for another break here, and then we'll give you the scores from all of the other games from last Friday and give a little breakdown of how all those went. So we got a little break, and then we'll have more of your Kohl's Tractor and Equipment Football Roundtable next on J98 The Boot.
If selection, customer service, and price all match
the Hillsboro Hawks joining us right now instead. So head coach Bill Saharsky here. He is sitting next to Chad Speaker if you're streaming on Twitter and YouTube. And then to my left, we got Jackson Patterson at the far side of the booth, Austin Romaine, and then Alex Medina sitting next to the coach at the end. So, fellas, coach, appreciate you coming down, though it's a little bit of a drive on a Tuesday night, but glad that we can get this conversation in here. So thanks so much, and congrats so far on a great season you guys are having. Last Friday, you get a bye. What'd you guys end up doing Friday night?
Oh, well, I mean, we practiced in the morning on Friday, so we didn't have to practice after school.
Okay.
But we still practice all week long.
Okay.
So,
Did you guys go out to any games on Friday night, or?
I went out, and another one of our coaches on staff, we came down to the Farmington Perryville game and watched half of football there. And I know Austin, he went up to Summit. Summit was playing. One of our other coaches went up there and watched Summit play against Pacific. So
yeah,
went out and got to see a little bit of different football. So it's always good to kind of see somebody live.
Different coaches feel like a bye hurts them or helps them. Which side were you on, Coach?
It's always one of those things where you don't want to. If it's a game you feel like you would definitely win, most likely you don't want to get a kid dinged up. So you can. It's 1 week where you don't have to worry about somebody getting dinged up in the game. So from that standpoint, it's a good thing. The negative thing is, these guys, they put in a lot of work for us, and they do a lot of what we ask. And football is not a sport where you get to play 20, 30 games. And I always tell people it is one less game that they get to play in their high school career. So that's the thing that's, I guess, not as fortunate when you have a bye is you do lose a game in essence. So, but I know if you ask these guys, being healthy is the key. And so we'll take that over if we can get some rest and everything. So
was the season wearing on you guys? Like you were a little dinged up or wearing down at all?
No, we've the coaches have done a good job of filling us in when the game gets kind of bad, or if they see one of us huffing and puffing, they'll take us out, sub us in. And at practice, we're splitting reps, so we're not really wearing our bodies out completely. I'd say most of us are pretty healthy.
Yeah, and I mean, you guys can sub each other, a lot of guys out, especially running the ball. I know that there's at least 5 of you that are really, having some good seasons running wise. So I guess, Austin, is it kind of nice knowing that you can get a little break and you can see like a Jackson or Peyton Preston and some of the other guys getting some carries?
Yeah, it is for sure. When I went down with my hand, I was just playing defense, and it was still pretty cool to have 3-4 guys that can still run the ball and everything like that. And then they split it, and we don't really miss a beat with that.
Yeah. So, Alex, you're on the O-line, right?
O-line and D-line.
O-line and D-line. So what is it, I guess, like blocking for a group of guys where, they are running the heck out of the ball this year? Can you just kind of tell me about the other guys that maybe are on the line with you and sort of, the cohesion that you guys have?
Man, it's a good feeling because, if you hit somebody as hard as you can, if you play your heart out on that play, they're going to do the exact same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're all seniors, right?
Yes, sir.
So you guys, I'm assuming that you've been playing football together for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Since
us
4th
three
grade.
specifically have been playing for a very long time together.
So was this season that you guys are having right now, you're 8-1, top seed in Class 4, District 1. I don't know if you look at the state media polls, but they have you as the 6th best team in the state in Class 4. Was this something that you guys have been kind of anticipating for a while? Like, we have this capability to do this once we're all juniors and seniors?
I mean, yeah, I feel like we were all thought of when we were older that we were going to take off and kind of strive for a state championship. I mean, one of our coaches that coached us all our life told us when we were younger, we'll be the first team with the state championship. So believe in it, we can get it.
Yeah.
Some teams are almost like reluctant to throw a goal out like that.
Right.
It's, next game and next practice. But was that the goal at the beginning of the year? We want to win a state championship?
I think you talk to the kids, and I said I'm down at the end of last season. We had a meeting probably about 3 or 4 days after the season ended, and I said, what, you guys, at the end of the day, that I truly believe the team's got to be player driven. They got to take control of the bus or the car, so to speak. And what is your guys' goal? Because your actions in the off season will tell us if you can achieve, if you can achieve that goal and want to work towards that goal. And I've always told these guys I'll do everything I can for them. We'll open up, weight room here and there. If they need extra time with stuff or this or that, just reach out to us coaches and we'll help them out. And so, those guys, a lot of them said, this is our goal. We want to play, we want to play and compete for a state title. And, these guys, these 3 guys, you never question their effort, their work intensity, whether it's in the weight room, out on the field. And That's why these guys are down here with us tonight. They're three guys that can go toe to toe with a lot of people in terms of physicality and running the football, blocking the football. Alex, I've told people you look at Alex and he's not going to wow you with his height or his size, but he's one of the best D linemen that's played in Hillsboro, in my opinion, the last 20 years that I've been in the county coaching football.
I love it. I love throwing that goal out there and saying, "Hey, this is what we aspire to." And Coach, you've got Division I guys that have signed, other college prospects. I love the fact that you rush the ball. I've got 367 yards a game, but you don't have anybody averaging over 83 a game individually. So, if you have one great player, maybe somebody can take it away, but it just seems like you guys have that unit that fits together and everyone contributes.
Definitely, Jackson and Austin, the last couple of years, they've both been 1,000-yard guys for us. And, Peyton being a year older, Peyton's more than capable of carrying the ball. And if you ask Jackson, he's sitting right here. He's been dinged up. He played on a torn meniscus his sophomore year in the season, and he's a tough kid. And, our goal this year, and I got two of these guys in my advisory throughout the school day, and I said, hey, our goal has got to be to get you guys to districts healthy. And if we can get there healthy, then that's going to give us a better shot to move on and move on from week to week. And so with Peyton being a year older and a year stronger, Peyton's a 200-pound kid, just like these two guys are running the ball for us. It's a good rotation when those guys get tired. And, when Austin was out with his hand, I think all these guys were at one point, they were all averaging over 10, 11 yards a carry. And then just with Austin out those 2 weeks, it dipped down to 8 or 9 just because that rotation's not there as much. And, getting Austin back with his hand, getting his cast off, that's big for us because it just those guys know, hey, if I make a long run, there's a lot of times this year they've had a 20, 30, 40-yard run. They come immediately out and a fresh back goes right in, and that really helps us. And, Jackson and Peyton ran really well against Cardinal Ritter. And we had the lead in the fourth quarter against those guys. And I truly believe if Austin was running the ball and if we're just a little bit fresher at times, Jackson broke one for, I don't know, probably a 40-yard run that, does he take it if he just had maybe 1 or 2 less carries at that point in the game? Does he take that to the house because we had a better rotation going in? If Austin, that's the what ifs, but we're in a good position right now, and we're glad to get Austin back.
So is the knee and the arm, you guys full power now, ready to
roll? Yeah, I'm all good.
Yeah. So, the Cardinal Ritter game, it's the only one that you guys have lost, but that must have been a good test that, for you guys on the field. They're the top team in Class 3, according to people around the state. How much were you looking forward to that game, I guess? And, what did you guys take away from that? Was there anything that you learned about your team after that one?
I think it was a pretty good test for sure. Like, we're looking up ahead of our schedule. We had a pretty tough schedule kind of starting it out, and then we ended up, it kind of mellowed out a little bit, and then it came to Cardinal Ritter. And then, so that was a really big test for us, kind of big time going before starting districts to see where we're at. And we just came up short. We had a few things that, I guess messed us up or
knocked us off track.
With the games, like turnovers or something like that, or on defense, we had a few minor mistakes, but so that one kind of slipped from us, but we move on and learn from that.
Yeah, I know it's a really good test, and while you guys are doing a lot, I know that Preston, coming in as a sophomore too to lead this team as a quarterback, he's running the ball really well. I don't know if he's been thrown anymore over the past few games, but he's really accurate. You make the passing plays work. I guess how is he sort of molded in with you guys, with you a big senior group? How has he kind of worked in, whether it be playing on the field or even off the field kind of stuff, to make sure that he's comfortable running the offense?
He wants it as bad as we do, type thing. He just wants it just as bad.
Yeah.
Type thing.
Over last summer, I went to a few camps with him, and he's always at 0 hour, which is it's like a morning lift and speed training. So just being able to know a guy's there for you, you want to play harder for that guy than a guy that's going to skip. Not be there on time. So. He's a sophomore, but I look at him as one of us for sure.
Yeah, Coach, it kind of feels like, with these guys here, they can almost coach the team in a way, I guess, just on the field. They can handle, whatever's kind of going on out there. Is it easier just knowing that you have leaders like this, that are running your team?
Oh, absolutely. When use Austin, for example, these guys all play O&D. Alex is, we've been able to spell him a little bit more on offense and have him really focus on D because when he's fresh, he's as tough to block as anybody I've seen in a long time. And Austin, he's our middle linebacker, so he's got to make a lot of our adjustment calls, and he'll come off the field and he'll within 1 or 2, 3 plays, hey, this blitz is good. This is how they're picking up this one. Let's go back to this one. And he's communicating that between offense and defensive series sometimes, where then he turns around 15, 20 seconds later, he's back on offense and then change the possession thing. So, Jackson, he plays one of our Sam. They're really the same position, just however that ends up being. But our Sam and Will, which has to really communicate with our defensive ends and our outside backers in terms of option responsibilities on certain things and adjustments we make, who has quarterback, who's got dive, and how we change that up just based on the call. And so having those guys be able to make those checks and make them right, we put that responsibility on them. We harp it, we rep it. But at the end of the day, those guys have to buy in and communicate with each other. And it definitely, they become coaches on the field when they learn all that stuff, what we do offensively and defensively.
Talked about option responsibilities. You'll see a flex bone triple option this week in Farmington. You seen anybody like them? Played anybody like them at all this year?
Well, you go back to back when I coached with Coach Robbins here and Coach Freeman. We ran that for a handful of years. When these guys came up as freshmen, we were kind of moving towards the eye stuff. We actually had a 1,000-yard back coming back who got injured in the preseason, and it was Jackson's freshman year, and we had Austin as one of our fullbacks, and we were really thin at our wing back spots. And when Dylan got hurt, Dylan Dace, he was coming off a 1,200-yard season. He tore his knee up in our jamboree. We were really thin there, and we're like, well, it's going to be hard for us to maintain having 3 backs back there, plus some backups coming in when those guys need a break. So we kind of moved to the eye a little bit. So these guys are familiar with it. They actually ran that stuff when they were in junior high. And so, from a coaching staff, we're familiar with it because we've all coached myself, Coach Anderson. He's coached with us for a long time. Coach Horn, who's with us, he played for us and so ran that offense. So we're familiar with that offense. It's just that these guys haven't played it the last couple of years. So
what's the key to slowing that down?
Well, obviously you have to you have to know. Yeah, physicality is definitely one we preach that with anybody we play. But for us, it's communicating because we, with what we do defensively, our guys have to, who has quarterback, who has dive, who has, we change that up based on a certain call that we make. It's not always going to be the same guy because, we kind of felt in the past that happened to us at times when it was more concrete every time. Team we played Farmington, when these guys were freshmen, and they put it to us pretty good. And so we've kind of gone to where we can have some different changes to where we can change that up, whether it's linebacker on dive or D-line on dive and making our cue calls and things like that. So we kind of mix it up, but I think mixing it up and being physical hopefully keeps those teams like that on their heels. And we're a split back option team when we're under center, and we're option when we get in gun. So our kids are familiar with, dive, quarterback, pitch. So those translate, even though it's a little bit different look.
Yeah, I know that with everything that you guys have accomplished this year, winning is great, and that makes things a little bit better. But it's fun too when you're winning games and when you guys are dominating, and you're dominating teams as good as any other team around our area, I guess, so far this season. Is it just fun out there for you guys when the offense is rolling, when the defense is getting stops? Is it just like in general, you guys just having fun throughout this whole season?
To be honest, after the games, it's fun. Going throughout the week, looking forward to the game. But in the game, to me, it is not I'd call it fun. Mm-hmm. I'm really putting my all out there, just working. After I feel that bit of accomplishment, but during it, I would not say it's fun. No.
It's business.
Yeah, it's business.
I'd say plus in the middle of the season, starters would only play 2 quarters.
Yeah, so then
we'd get
we
2
had to
quarters
watch.
of playing time, and then we'd be out the rest of the game.
And that's probably not the most fun part. I guess. Yeah, you want to be out there. Yeah,
it's a program builder, though, isn't it?
It absolutely is.
100%.
I since I became the head coach, I've always told our older guys, our varsity starters, I said, hey, your job needs to be to watch the game from the sideline. If we can accomplish that at the end of the game, and you guys can do that, I said that means we're most likely winning the ball game, and we're having success, and our younger kids are getting in and getting those varsity experiences and those varsity reps that are vital for when those guys graduate. And we've been fortunate to have the talent, and these guys have all 3 been 3-year starters for us. So they have a lot to do with some of those big wins. But even as a coach, you see that because there's games where these two guys have had 6 carries on the night, and we've got them out in the a couple of this games this year where they're out at the end of the first quarter. And as a coach, you want those guys to get more opportunities because the level of work they put in for our program, and they deserve that. But at the same time, we were fortunate to get up on some people, and we don't need these guys getting hurt in a game that, from that point, we're, most likely not going to lose by pulling them out that soon. So it's a catch-22. But these guys have done a really good job understanding that and being really good teammates to the younger guys.
Guys, I want you to obviously have the opportunity to focus on the game ahead, but we haven't had an opportunity really to talk to you about what you'll do next year. And, you guys are all going to have an opportunity to play college football. In Austin, you've already declared for Kansas State. What do you like about the Wildcats?
Just pretty much everything about it. It's I feel like that's going to be the play. That's definitely the place for me. They run a defense kind of like what we run, so I feel like I fit in that scheme really well. All the coaches and the head coach, they're really building the program out there, and I feel like that's what I want to be a part of. So
the playoff poll came out this week. They were 13th. You probably liked what you saw against Oklahoma State last week.
I was actually at that game.
I thought I saw your picture on Twitter. Yeah, that was a great environment.
Oh, it was awesome. It was awesome.
I bet. Yeah, I remember looking up some stuff about the linebacker coach there. You have to help me with his name.
Coach Standard.
Yeah, so I think he was at Wyoming before. He used to coach Logan Wilson, who's now the linebacker for the Bengals, and I'm a Bengals guy, and I've spent a little bit of time with them. And I'm like, all right, hey, Logan Wilson's pretty freaking good. So, you got something good set up over there. But, this is it's been a fun year watching you guys. I know that the journey's not over. Your food's out there, so I don't want it to get too cold for you either. But
let me ask Jackson how the process is going for him.
Yeah. What do you mean the
recruiting process?
It's going well. I mean, I talked to a lot of coaches, but I haven't really made not really leaning towards any schools right now. I also want to wait till after the season to get my responses over my this season highlights. So we'll see what happens.
So the same thing as Jackson's doing. I'm not leaning anywhere. I'm just kind of seeing and going. Yeah.
Enjoy the process for what it is right now. Yeah, still a job to be done.
For sure.
Yeah, that's what it is. Well, yeah, like I said, I don't want your food to get a little too cold, but appreciate you guys coming down here. Yeah, congrats on everything you've done so far this season. We'll be with you. Got the game on KREI this Friday against Farmington, and we'll see where the journey goes from there.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. Bill Saharsky, Alex Medina, Austin Romaine, and Jackson Patterson joining us. We'll step aside for a break and come back with more of your Coles Tractor and Equipment Football Roundtable on J98. Welcome back into the Coles Tractor and Equipment Football Roundtable on 98, J98 the boot, that is, mymoinfo.com. We're streaming on Twitter and YouTube. Griffin Weinberg and Chad Speaker with you inside the Applebee's in Farmington. The food is smelling great. I can't wait to eat. I can feel my tummy rumbling right now. And got the Hillsboro Hawks head coach Bill Saharsky, Jackson Patterson, Austin Romaine, Alex Medina. They just joined us on the table. Great conversation. They're eating their delicious food that is given to them by Amy Cousins over here.
Tell those guys are just focused in.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, even with us, they're all focused.
It's playoff season. Yeah, I mean, it's playoff season. It requires every little attention to detail. Plus, they're all seniors. They don't want their season to end this Friday. They want to keep going on. And, yeah, we'll have that game, Hillsboro versus Farmington on KREI this Friday. But let's take a step backwards and talk about the games we had last Friday. And actually, one team that didn't play, mentioned it at the top of the show, but St. Vincent, they had a bye. They're the top seed in Class 1 District 1. They're taking on the 4-seeded Charleston Blue Jays. It'll be a battle of teams that are 7-2 this Friday. That game is going to be at the home of the Indians. In Class 1 District 2, Crystal City, they're the 3 seed. They get upset by Louisiana, the 6 seed. 28-24 is the final score. 8-2 is the final record for the Hornets. But what an awesome year that they had.
It was a great year for them. And tip of the cap to Louisiana, because they've kind of been in the same mode as Crystal City the past few years.
Yeah.
And kind of that, I don't even know if I want to say rebuild.
A little bit, yeah.
Just build.
Yeah, just building, yeah.
Mode. And so that was a big win for that team, the Bulldogs. But to me, that doesn't tarnish Crystal City's year. They did a nice job this year and turned in their best season in a lot of years.
Yeah, a home playoff game didn't go the way they wanted, but that had to have been nice, to have a home playoff game too. So up to Class 2 District 1, it was Jefferson who went into overtime with John Burroughs, but the Blue Jays fall 17-14, and they finished the year 5-5. Coach Matt Adley, he was really proud of his guys for turning the season around after they started 1-3.
It's really easy when you're 1-3 just to say, what, we're done. That's not what they did. They played very good football teams here down the stretch. I know they played a St. Genevieve team, that was getting some kids back from being healthy and really battled with them. And then played a St. Vincent team that is pretty dang salty, really kind of left it all out. So they're a great group of young men. They grew so much this year. It's just so proud to see that. And it makes me happy knowing that was my first senior I got to be with.
Griff Jefferson played terrific defense all year long.
Yep.
Their offense came along as the season went along. Burroughs obviously came up with a really nice defensive effort in that ball game. But for Jefferson, to me, I think that's something, even with the loss, they can hang their hat on in the offseason, is their defense showed up in this game too.
Yeah, they were big. Jefferson, they were up 14-0 in that game. And then John Burroughs, it's the 17 unanswered, forcing overtime to win 17-14 final score. Class 3, District 1, the St. Genevieve Dragons took down Dexter 56-17 as the Dragons improved to 8-2. Head coach Jay Pope says it was an all-around team effort.
We were very good on both phases of the game, and rushing and passing. Peyton Boyer threw for about 200 yards again and picked up the white spring camper for a couple touchdowns, long and explosive plays. And then the run game was really good again for us. We kind of found that stride last week again. We found it again tonight. I think we rushed for almost 400 yards. Hayden Butcher had another really, really good game, and we were able to get Jeff Parler back there again this week, and he rushed for 2 scores as well. So it's kind of a team effort. Take what they give you for the deal, and we got a lot of people involved in the really fun game.
Talk about Jefferson's defense. For me, it's St. Genevieve's offense this year. If you have a crack in your armor, if you have any type of splinter in their defense, they really make you pay. We've seen them put up huge numbers in a lot of games this year.
83 in that game against Afton, I think it was. Yeah, they had that spell in the middle of the season where you play Central, you play Valley Catholic, and then Potosi played them well. I think the final score there was 26-12, St. Gen won, but yeah, they've been rolling as of late, and having that wide spring camper back on the field, that really changes the way that they play. So they're going to have the Central Rebels this Friday. We'll have that for you on J98. Fun game there. Speaking of Potosi, they drop their final game of the season to Kennett. 26-19 is the score. Potosi ends their year at 3-7.
Battle, they battle. Kennett always has a lot of talent down there, a lot of speed. They always seem to be a really tough team. We school board watched this thing all night. Potosi was in this thing, even leading for
Yeah.
portions of this game. I think they can. I know 3-7 might not be what they wanted, but to me, they can come out of this season with their head held high the way they finished off.
Yeah, it's another case of looking at their schedule. Valley Central, they're in the MAFC White Division. Then you throw in the St. Genevieve, North County on there too. This Kennett squad, and not the easiest way to go out, but they do have a lot to build on. Blake Coleman, he's going to be graduating though, so we'll see what they do at quarterback next year. Up in Class 3 District 2, how about Herculaneum? They beat Bayless 28-24. The 3-seed Black Cats taking down the 6-seeded Broncos as Herky improves to 6-4 on the year. They had lost their last 2 regular season games, but they win this playoff game, and Blaine Boss said that the lead went back and forth all night.
They got up early. They scored first, actually. They got safety at 1.2. But, yeah, they were up multiple times in the game. There were times we had to battle back. I think we only had to lead a couple times, maybe in the third quarter, and then in the fourth one time, and they scored again. Yeah, it was kind of back and forth. It was a regular battle.
And a really strong win there for Herculaneum, again, because they dropped to Perryville on a Saturday afternoon, and they lose to Crystal City in their final regular season game. Everyone's dinged up. You're battling injuries here, but could have been a tough way to end the season for Herky, but they come back and get the win, and they extend their season by at least one more week. Up in Class 4, District 1, the North County Raiders beat DeSoto 52-12. DeSoto coach Keith Woodland, he says that his guys fought till the very end.
A lot of kids that been around for a lot of years, and they're definitely going to be fans. I was really happy with our efforts tonight in the North County football team. And, Coach Jones and all the crew kind of let us play there at the end, and I appreciate that. I'll be honest with you, we haven't played that hard in the first half of any game this year, and they were just better. And I'm definitely proud of our effort. They definitely. I asked them to fight. Literally the only thing I asked them before the game. They sure as heck did that.
DeSoto finishes the year 1-9. Again, for Keith Woodland, they win the first game of the season against Bishop DuBourg. His first win as a head coach. DeSoto didn't win a game last year, so they have that. But then, they lose their final 9 games. And he called in every week to the Roundtable, and most weeks it's the message that I asked them to fight. We're trying. It's not easy. It's not easy for someone to speak that much. And almost relay the same message. But he always called in, and glad that he was able to see some fight out of his kids there.
And you talked about how hard it is to climb up in the MAFC white or red.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of talked about the Potosi side. And for DeSoto, it just seems like they have kind of cycles of rebuild a lot of the time. And right now, it's not an easy place to be. In North County goes to the semifinals.
Yep.
Last year, you've got Hillsboro in that division. Festus, to me, is a very explosive team. It's a hard place to climb up in.
Windsor's getting better, bigger and better every year. Yeah, and but they have a lot of youth coming back for DeSoto. So curious to see how year 3 goes for Keith Woodland. While North County, they improved to 8-2 on the year. Staying in Class 4, District 1, the Festus Tigers set up a matchup with North County this Friday. Festus, the 3-seed, beat the 6-seeded Sykeston Bulldogs 61-14. Festus evens their record at 5-5.
Such a wild card.
Yeah.
To me, Griff.
Yeah, you just don't know.
I think Festus is. They lost some. They lost to St. John, and I don't know. They lose some games sometimes, and you kind of wonder where are they headed next. And they score 61 against Sykeston. They looked fantastic against Farmington. I mean, Farmington isn't having their best year, but Farmington doesn't just let people score on them all the time. And Festus looked really good there. Little spoiler alert. I know we're going to talk about it in a minute, but Festus North County.
Yeah.
What a game that's going to be. We'll talk about it in a little bit, but to me, Festus is a wild card. Their ceiling, to me, is really high.
Yeah. We're going to be broadcasting that game this upcoming Friday. I'll finish off the spoiler there. We're excited for it. Yeah, Festus, they could have this outburst, 61-14. Sometimes they may not be scoring that much, but they are a dangerous team when they are playing in tip-top shape, and they did against Sykeston last Friday. Up in Class 4, District 2, the Windsor Owls year comes to an end at the hands of the Gateway Jaguars, 26-20. Windsor finishes the year 4-6. Jeff Funston, head coach of the Owls, says that they had a chance at the end.
To our kids' credit, they played, got a good drive going, came down to it. We ran our feet off them and came up. It just picked us to score the first down. We only got the guys. We had some momentum going into that drive.
came up, those 6 games, they got the thing back and kind of hold on to it, play keep away, and that was that.
Let's go to Class 5 District 1, where the same message went for the Fox Warriors. Their season comes to a close. The Poplar Bluff Mules defeated the Warriors 32-0. Fox ends the year at 2-8. Coach Brent Tinker, though, he says that the message is clear for turning around the Warriors football team.
We have to earn it. We have a lot of talent in the back. There's no question. But we have to earn it. So there's a lot of hard work. And there's a lot of thought that has to be put into a walk before we actually start winning again. So we have a lot of people to do the job. We have plenty of kids to do the work. If they keep on doing what they say they're going to do and they actually pay the price, we're going to be back real fast.
Griff, you did. You were hosting the End Zone show, and that answer came off kind of the question that hey, you have young guys, you have a lot of returners, and you like these guys.
Yeah.
And I loved his response. I mean, he said, "Yeah, we do love these guys. They're young. We are going to get a lot of guys coming back, but that doesn't mean anything unless you follow through with the work in." And I just really like the way he phrased that answer.
And I believe him, too, when he says it, that if they put the work in, they'll get out of it what they do put in. And, yeah, there's a lot of young talent coming back for this team. They're losing key seniors. I know Sam Street's the one that comes to my mind. But Cameron Underwood, sophomore, who played quarterback a lot of the time this year, he'll be coming back, and he's got experience from playing varsity as a freshman and sophomore now. And they just have a lot of talent. So I believe Coach Tinker when he talks about it.
We just talked to the Hillsborough guys, right? And they reference something they call 0 hour, which is before school. That's not part of practice.
No.
It's not part of your regular lifting. That's not part of your – that's extra work that you put in because you want to be good. My high school team, we won state playoff games every year. Didn't win state. But we always had something called pride. And it was only the players. And it was after practice was completely over. We called it pride, and it was any extra work you would stay on the field and get in, whether you ran another 50 pass routes, you ran some sprints, maybe you went to the weight room a little bit. We call it pride, but it was a player-driven segment. And, that's the type of thing you're talking about. You're wanting to elevate your program.
Yeah, and like I said, I think if anyone's going to be able to get his guys to believe into that mindset, I think Brent Tinker is definitely the guy that can do that. But, again, their season over 2-8 Fox Warriors this past year. Up in Class 6 District 1, the Seckman Jaguars, they picked up a 50-41 win over the St. Louis University High School Junior Billiken. And Seckman improves to 9-1 on the year. Head coach Nick Baer, he had praise for one of his players.
This is against no one's been able to run the ball like we did tonight. It's fun to see. He's just a special football player.
I hope that the Seckman fans aren't thinking that this is customary. Like, they're not just taking for granted that this is a guy that is able to put these type of numbers up. Our Applebee's of Farmington Athlete of the Week.
Exactly.
Cole Rubel, 323 yards rushing in the ball game. As you heard Coach say, 7 touchdowns. He caught a pass.
Yep.
He scored 2 two-point conversions.
Yep.
Tip of the cap to Cole Rubel, our Applebee's of Farmington Athlete of the Week.
Yeah, he's a special player. And, no, I think I asked Nick Baer about that too. Like, hey, I mean, is it nice knowing that you can just lean on a guy like that if times may be tough? He goes, yeah, that's just the kind of guy that he is. And not everyone has the ability to go out and just score 7 touchdowns and 300 rushing yards on 10 carries.
And they needed it.
Yeah.
Wayne Slew High scored 41 points.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing for Seckman, that's the program's first win against a St. Louis high school too. So that was a big victory for Seckman. Home playoff game. They got a tough battle coming up.
As they got bumped up to Class 6 this year.
Yeah, I know. They were hoping for Jackson at the beginning of the year in Class 5. They wanted Jackson again, but yeah, they got a little blindsided by it, but they're rolling with it. 9-1 Seckman, the 10th ranked team in Class 6. And then the Northwest Lions, they finished the year winless, record of 0-10. They fall to Seckman's opponent this week, the Marquette Mustangs, 54-0. Big winners portion of the evening here on the Kohl's Tractor and Equipment Football Roundtable. I think in general, the big winners are everyone who gets to play another football game.
Survive in advance, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like what Seckman did, a tip of the cap to Herculaneum. I think that was a nice win for them.
If I can choose a big winner that didn't win, though, we keep kind of hashing it, but Jefferson.
I thought Jefferson battled hard. I thought Potosi battled hard.
Yeah, Potosi, yeah, they played some close games there at the end. Jefferson, I think that, again, yeah, you said it earlier, but that there is a lot to be thankful for and to be proud of, and a lot to carry over into next year under head coach Matt Atlee. I think out of the teams that ended up, winning the games, though, the winners that were able to go on, I think Herculaneum, that was a really good win for the Black Cats over Bayless this past week because they were struggling coming into the district playoffs, but they were able to pull out a victory at the very end of the game, and they're able to survive for one more week. So is there any one team or a couple teams, Chad, that have been kind of eyeing you from last Friday?
In terms of the winners that you're
the
talking
big winners,
there,
I suppose.
I kind of agreed with you in terms of Jefferson and Herky. I thought those were two big winners right there. So,
yeah. So
I agree with that.
Yeah. Lot to be happy about if you were able to win a football game last Friday. So that's last Friday. How about we talk about this upcoming Friday? And we'll do that after another break here on the Coles Tractor and Equipment Football Roundtable on J98 The Boots.
For the last 25 years,
it was
Parkland Monument Company provided
looking for it. I knew I had it written down. I didn't find
Time on the Kohl's Tractor and Equipment Football Roundtable. Last time here in this year of 2022, the 1st of November, at the wonderful Applebee's Farmington. Last segment of the last show. Griffin Weinberg and Chad Speaker with you. And we are thankful for Amy Cousins and crew, all the waiters, waitresses, staff here at Applebee's for serving us and making us feel at home every Tuesday night over the last 11 weeks.
Go buy some tractors from them.
Yeah, we love Kohl's Tractor and Equipment.
Tractors.
Home of the LS herd. Don't just lead the herd, or don't just follow. You can lead the herd as well. Kohl's Tractor USA. And big thank you to our staff back at the studios now. Michael Capias, new member of our team, potentially Alan, doing some good stuff, working with us tonight. Jack Sadler, the part-timer. Connor Mooney. Everyone. Hal Neisler. Everyone that we got here. So we're talking some football. We're going to give you the matchups for this upcoming Friday, but how about a little nugget on the Mizzou football Tigers? They upset the number 25 South Carolina Gamecocks this past Saturday. 23-10 was the final score. 4-4 the Tigers are overall, and I remember before their bye week, I brought up the fact on the show that they were 2-4, and they needed to win 4 of their final, however, 6 games against some top teams. And I didn't give them a chance against South Carolina, so they beat Vandy. They beat South Carolina. Now they're 2 wins away from being bowl eligible. They're doing pretty well.
Well, and next up, Kentucky, Griffin. Kentucky just lost last week, and they have dropped out of the top 25. For the
Yeah,
first time
I don't believe in Kentucky.
So we'll see.
Yeah,
They got Mizzou got the mayor's trophy, by the way.
Yeah?
Because when South Carolina, I didn't realize this, when South Carolina and Mizzou play, they both are from Columbia.
Yeah,
So they have a mayor's trophy.
All right, yeah, that's fancy. I didn't think about that. All right, that's good. But yeah, this Kentucky team, I don't buy them. I think they've been kind of fraudulent throughout the whole year. Mizzou will be at Tennessee next week. You could probably chalk that up to what you think you'll chalk it up to, and then they'll finish with New Mexico State and Arkansas at home. So there's a good chance that the Tigers can get bowl eligible with 6 wins. We'll see. They'll play Kentucky this Saturday, 9 a.m. pregame, 11 a.m. kickoff on AM 800 KREI and AM 1400 KJF.
I think I'm a little bit more of a believer in Kentucky than you are, but
yeah, I'm not.
That doesn't mean that. I mean, I'm not completely sold on Mizzou either. So I think it'll probably be a pretty good game.
I think it could be too. It's just I've taken a close eye on Kentucky, especially throughout a few games this year, and I don't buy into that program, at least for what they are now.
Their defense is usually steady. They thought were going to have a great quarterback in Will Levis. He's been injured off and on.
Yeah.
Whatever that means.
We'll see. Listen to KREI and KJF this Saturday starting at 9 o'clock to see what happens between Mizzou and Kentucky. But for high school football, let's break down this week's schedule. On Friday in Class 1, District 1, it'll be St. Vincent taking on Charleston. In Class 1, District 2, St. Pius is at Duchesne. Class 3, District 1, Kennett is at Valley Catholic, and St. Genevieve is at Central. Class 3, District 2, Herculaneum will be at University City. That game will be played Saturday at 1 o'clock, Herky and University City. In Class 4, District 1, it's Farmington at Hillsborough and Festus at North County. And then in Class 6, District 1, it is Seckman at Marquette. So 3 of these games will be on regional radio. Again, only 11 teams in our area remain. But another game, I guess, that's kind of catching my eye. Of course, I think Seckman Marquette is one I'm interested to see how that goes. Both teams 9-1, very strong, powerful teams that they got there, and it's going to be a gauntlet. I think Seckman is in uncharted territory in Class 6, getting their first win against a St. Louis high school last Friday. Now they're going to be tested at the Marquette Mustangs, who really know how to score, and I'm curious to see how that one will come out.
Both ranked in the top 10 of the state.
Yep.
Seckman got ranked actually for the first time in the final poll after the regular season concluded. They're 10th.
Yep.
Marquette, the 7th ranked team. I think that's a great matchup. I think the Charleston-St. Vincent matchup is a really interesting one.
Yeah.
These two played last year in the first round, and St. Vincent wiped them out, 43-8. But Charleston was a 1-9 team then. This year they're a 7-2 team.
Yeah.
So they had a lot of guys back that obviously put in some nice work. They got a lot better, and now both those teams are 7-2. St. Pius in Class 1 District 2 has the better record than Duchesne. I don't think there's any argument
again,
that could hold water that says Duchenne didn't have a better schedule. They had a really tough schedule.
Yeah,
They're
because
battle
again,
tested.
they got losses to Cardinal Ritter, MICDS, St. Mary's, 3 of the top teams in the state, regardless of class. But yeah, I mean, that St. Pius team, they're dangerous. They have the good defense, the offense. You get James Smith back healthy, maybe they can make some noise there.
Valley, I think.
Yeah,
they're going to be in good shape against Kennett. They played, on 3 wheels last time against Kennett. They had injuries, they had sickness, and I just don't think that's.
I think we know how that one could go.
Yeah. But Herky and U City, I think, is pretty good. Herculaneum 6-4, University City 5-5. Hopefully, that's going to be a really competitive game.
And that mentions all of the games we're not broadcasting.
Well, I think it's
this
a
week.
match of, really competitive games. Maybe aside from a couple.
Yeah, exactly. I think it will be competitive. And, how about the games that we will be broadcasting? So, Class 4 District 1 will have both of those matchups, starting with Festus at North County on AM 1400 KJF. Hal Neisler is going to have the call. Festus 5-5, North County 8-2. We mentioned it earlier in the show, Chad. Festus, they can come out and put up 60 like they did against Sykeston. Maybe they'll come out and they may not put up 60 like they have in a few other games. You just don't know what team you're getting out of it. I think for North County, you know what kind of team you're getting. High-powered offense, Job Smith, arguably the top player in our entire area, and a really strong defense and a disciplined team that's going to be hungry for a rematch with Hillsboro.
Yeah, North County obviously has taken care of Festus already, but Brian Jones, maybe if he wants to get some inspiration from listening to the show again, that's fine. But to me, I just, once again, I'm not predicting anything here, but to me, I just feel like Festus has the capability of being very explosive.
Yeah.
You watch, a few of their games, and you say, how are they 5-5? And then, you watch a few others and say, okay, I see maybe how they're 5-5. But to me, like I said earlier, I think they're upside, and I think their ceiling's pretty high.
Yeah, North County went to Festus on September 30th, and the Raiders beat the Tigers. Final score 30-20. The last time that North County lost to Festus was in 2020 in the Class 4 state tournament. They lost 4 straight times, but now North County has won the last 2 matchups against the Festus Tigers.
And last year was really a shootout. Came down just to the final few plays.
41-35. North County comes up on top. And this will be the 4th time these teams have played in the Class 4 state tournament in the last 8 years. And Festus is 2-1 in those matchups. And again, the last time was a couple years ago when Festus wins 27-6. So we're excited for that game. I'm really excited for that game. I think it's going to be a battle. And then the other Class 4 District 1 semifinal on AM 800 KREI. It's the Farmington Knights up in Hillsboro to take on the Hawks, and we'll have a special guest that'll be broadcasting this game.
Yeah, Dave Ward's going to help us out.
Yeah.
So we really appreciate Dave. We've Garrett left us.
Yeah.
So that puts us a man down. So next man up, our broadcast team, as well as on the field. But we really appreciate Dave Ward helping us out, and he'll have the broadcast for us Friday night. I'll be in studio with your Fleets Equipment pregame show, your Parkland Health Mart Pharmacy halftime, and of course your Patsy's Furniture End Zone show. Farmington and Festus, they haven't played for a couple of years. They used to play. These teams would win in the state playoffs and bump into each other. So they played in the state playoffs 3 out of 4 years. One time they actually added each other in the regular season. It's been a pretty even matchup between these two. It's going to take everything that Farmington has. I mean, Hillsboro obviously is kind of in their cycle, right, where they have the seniors. They've been leading to this year. For Farmington, they have some good seniors, don't get me wrong, but a lot of their impact players are younger and, in their cycle, probably a year or 2 away from reaching kind of their apex of this cycle. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one for Farmington. Yeah, you pretty much hit the hammer on the nail with all of that, and we got some insight from Bill Saharsky and some of the guys on the team about that game, too. So tune in to AM 800 KREI Friday night. We'll have Dave on the call beginning at 6:45. And the J98 game of the week, I'm heading to Park Hills. Central Rebels will be hosting the St. Genevieve Dragons, a rematch from earlier this year when Central won 45-3. That game was in Park Hills, and that was just, it feels like a different game this time around.
I think, the question, Griff, as you lead in is there anything that has happened to kind of lead us to believe that it will be a different game? On the Central side,
no.
They've not done anything to say that it's not going to be the same thing for For St. Genevieve, I know they've played this season with some of their really big weapons kind of in and out of their lineup. I mean, are they going to be at their best coming into this ballgame? Because they probably need to be.
And it feels like they are. They're getting better and better as the season has gone on. I mean, you look at again, they start 4-0, 5-0. They start 4-0, then they can run into Central. They have Valley, they beat Potosi, and then they're able to get their guy back, Wyatt Springcamper. So he's been back against Jefferson. St. John puts up 41 points. Against Kelly, Springcamper's back. St. John puts up 42 points. And in the win against Dexter, they put up 56 points. And seriously, the way that this kid changes the game, not to throw all the focus on him, but he played a little bit in week one, I think one play before he got hurt. Throughout the whole season, Caden Fly had been the leading receiver for St. Genevieve, I think going into the week 7 game with 266 receiving yards. It's now 3 healthy games for Springcamper, 427 receiving yards just in that time. Yeah, it changes the way that you have to game plan for St. Gen because he's a kid that you notice. He's a game changer. He's not a Joe Bryant. He's not, having the punt return stats or anything like that. He's not, as powerful as a Job Smith. But or a Cole Rubel, but he changes the way that you have to game plan.
But he's also not an X factor; he's a main factor.
Yeah, he is he's a main guy, So they're going to be using him a lot. It is going to be a battle for St. Gen, though. You would expect Central to win this ball game. The only time the Dragons have won, I think, in the last 11 meetings was in the Class 3 state tournament in 2019 when St. Gen won 24-22. But yeah, Central won 45-3 this week, and there's nothing that says that's telling me that Central's going to slow down at all from the way that they're playing with what they can do offensively, defensively, special teams. I mean, they do it all in all phases.
If you want to stay in the game with their offense is hard enough to stop.
Yeah.
Right. But if you want to stay in the game with the Central Rebels, to me, don't punt it to their return guys.
Nope.
Don't throw it to their defensive guys. Got to make great decisions. I mean, first of all, don't let them score on special teams and defense. That's hard enough to, but then you got to stop their offense. That's hard enough to do. So, but if you want to stay in the game, you can't make those errors. You got to play smart, and you have to eliminate them scoring those other ways because they're good enough offensively anyway.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun game. I'll have the call for you on J98 on Friday, and that is going to finish off another wonderful season of the Coles Tractor and Equipment Football Roundtable. Again, a thank you to Amy Cousins here at Applebee's and the rest of the staff, and they get to serve us and we get to appreciate all the hard work that they put in, and thank you to everyone who listens, whether you've been listening all year, whether you tune in for a show or two, or you've caught on at the end of the year. We appreciate all of the support that you give us, whether you're listening on J98, mymoinfo.com, or you're streaming on Twitter and YouTube. We don't do this show without your help, so thank you very much. And another fun year. We have a football, but it's not over, Chad. Still got some games coming up this Friday. We'll broadcast next Friday, and should we have some teams? Well, we're guaranteed to have some teams that'll advance into at least the first round of the state playoff. So we'll have games going until any one of our area teams is all said and done. But another good year. Chalk this one up to a victory. So thank you, Chad Speaker, the rest of our team, Garrett Davenport. Thank you to him, Hal Meisler, Nathan Gertz all the way back. He spent a few weeks with us at the beginning of the season. All of our friends up in Jefferson County, KJF, Jack Sadler, Connor Mooney, Michael Capias, Alan. I don't know Alan's last name. But thanks to Alan. Appreciate all the help that you're giving us, man. And that is going to wrap things up. Griffin Weinberg signing off from our Coles Tractor and Equipment Football Roundtable here on J98 The Boot.
Hi, this is Steve Hurley at the All New Master Tech Auto Glass in Crystal.